The corona crisis has hurt many Australians, and the worst is still to come. So many people are struggling, and so many businesses are failing. The people who work in our government need to fix this, and fast. Fortunately, a plan has already been developed. It's called the Rebuild Australia Strategy, or RA Strategy, and has been officially accepted as a petition to the Australian Senate on the 13th of May 2020. This means it is a matter of public record and dialogue, so our representatives will need to take this seriously or they'll rightly be held accountable for any unnecessary suffering caused by ignoring it. The plan is simple. It's known as localization. What this means is whatever food and resources we can create locally and regionally, we will. This translates into more self-reliance as a nation, which is exactly what every other nation should do. It will create tens of thousands of jobs, expand small business, bring back Aussie manufacturing, provide higher quality foods and resources which are Australian owned and made, ensure a more competitive market which means a lower cost of living, provide more power on the community level, and insulate us from other issues which will occur on the global stage. Does that sound good to you? Do you want to see Australia become more self-sufficient instead of being in a codependent relationship with globalised supply chains? Of course you do. We need Australia to lead the world on how to properly design our social system, and this crisis is a grand opportunity to do so. After all, we know some eggs have been broken, so let's make an omelette which feeds a great legacy to the Australian people, the environment, and our future generations. To achieve this, the RA plan needs politicians, industry bodies, mainstream and independent media, celebrity voices, activist groups, and the Australian people at large to get behind it. And make no mistake, with the right support, it will happen. So without further ado, here is the Rebuild Australia strategy designed as a petition which was submitted to the Australian Senate. To the Honourable President and members of the Senate in Parliament assembled, the petition of the undersigned shows, after the social devastation of COVID-19, Australians need the people who work in our government to create tens of thousands of meaningful jobs, restore small business, rebuild local manufacturing, reflourish life skills, increase health and education, re-empower local decision making, resolve the economic crisis, and permanently insulate Australia from global issues such as pandemics, climatic changes, economic collapses, or any other inevitable disruption to the codependent globalised food and resource systems. This can all be achieved through what is known as localisation. Your petitioners request that the Senate, with full bipartisan support, fund the Rebuild Australia RA strategy, which is a fundamental redesign of our social system with strong local and healthy food supplies, including more homegrown food, community gardens, polycultural farming, such as permaculture farms, commercial greenhouses, and plant factories, especially for dense populations in cities. Water security for personal, agricultural, and industrial use, including water redistribution projects such as national piping infrastructure and dam networks and schemes. Industrial hemp resource systems to locally, regionally produce, process, manufacture, and retail our own biofuel, paper, plastics, clothing, body care, foods, medicine, furniture, building materials, fireproof houses, vehicles, and tens of thousands of other environmentally friendly and Australian-made and owned products. And recreate necessary Commonwealth assets, especially public services and infrastructure, which will create stronger market competition, leading to a lower cost of living for Australians. To reiterate, full bipartisan support is expected for such a critical rebuild of Australia. This is a macro strategy which will be customised for each electorate through local decision making regarding what is needed and what can be achieved locally. Furthermore, industrial hemp resource systems are not just desirable, but absolutely fundamental for ensuring Australian-made and owned food and resources. Therefore, unprecedented investment will occur in infrastructure, services, and business for this end. Ultimately, the strategy outlined above is essential to intelligently rebuild Australia. It will easily be funded by recreating our People's National Development Bank, like the former Commonwealth Bank of Australia model when run by Denison Miller in the early 20th century, as well as a decentralised network of local public banks to fund necessary service provision and infrastructural expansion on the community level. This would be the wisest, most ideal approach, yet at the very least the government will immediately invest some of the tens of billions of dollars recently created out of nothing in these projects. The results will be more Aussie-made products, more meaningful jobs, more small business, more honourable living, more power for communities, less poverty, less cost of living, and a swift solution to the systemic implosion brought about by the corona crisis. Well, there you have it, Australia and the world. Localization is a simple but effective solution to so many of our issues. And whilst it is basic in theory, the shift on the ground will be absolutely ginormous. Imagine all the jobs that will be created, imagine all the infrastructure that will be built, imagine all the thousands of Australian-made and owned products we will produce out of hemp, and imagine all the benefits to you and your community. It's a no-brainer, Australia. And remember, this is not just about rebuilding after the consequences of this pandemic, but taking better care of our environment, as well as protecting us in the future from other pandemics, climatic changes to the food supply, environmental catastrophes such as solar flares frying our electricity grid, or any other inevitable disruption to our rational codependency with globalised food and resource systems. So if we together, as a strong, unified people, bring this into reality, Australia will lead the world for how to redesign our system with intelligence, honour and wisdom. The job seekers win because over the years we'll create hundreds of thousands of meaningful jobs. The business community wins because it will reverse monopolisation by the multinationals and help small business thrive. Local economies win because most of the money spent will stay in the community instead of going overseas. The environment wins because industrial hemp is a sustainable solution for creating environmentally friendly resources. The freedom lovers win because if the people control their food and resources, it means more power at the local level. Our children win because they will be healthier, better educated and obtain more life skills. And you win because you'll be able to access higher quality food, medicine and resources. Ultimately, everybody wins, especially our future generations. If you believe in the Rebuild Australia strategy, why wouldn't you? Then please share this video with your government representatives, your mainstream and independent media channels, your favourite celebrities, your activist groups, and any other individual or group who can help this plan come into reality. And a big thank you for your support from your future generations and the environment.